Hello and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, all of which are having new things in 2022. And that's what we're talking about this week. And my name is DJ Wooldridge. And with me, as always, is Roxy Stryer. Also, one of the most anticipated things of 2022 and every year.
Oh, wow.
Roxy
Who's
Stryer.
anticipating me?
Everyone. We're all anticipating Roxy Stryer.
What are you anticipating that I'm going to do? You don't know.
You don't know. You're going to have to follow her.
You don't know.
Social media. You're going to have to check out Whirl Girls to see what she's whirling about.
That's exactly it, DJ. Exactly.
That's exactly. So that is as I mentioned at the top, we were talking about our most anticipated TV shows and movies, and also some video games for me for 2022. As always, if you go to our Patreon, our little Patreon called patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, you can watch episodes like this live. Oh my goodness. You can also check out our Patreon exclusive shows, What We're Into and Spider-Versity. Spider-Versity is back, and we're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. And what we're going to be talking about and what we're into this week, if you go over to the Patreon, is we're going to be talking about Peacemaker and the Book of Boba Fett, the latest episodes of those, How I Met Your Father, a bunch of cool stuff over there. So go over to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers and check it out. Gosh dang it. As always, you can give us 5-star reviews on iTunes, please and thank you. We will read those reviews on the show. And every week we ask a question on Spotify. Last week was, what is your favorite TV show intro? Due to Peacemaker's incredible intro. And Stacey Gata said, I love the Game of Thrones and Cowboy Bebop intro. I also have a soft spot for the intros to the Disney/Nickelodeon shows I grew up on because of the catchy theme songs. iCarly, Sweet Life, etc. Stormy Wood says, it's Betty White's birthday, so in her honor, Golden Girls. I've loved that show since I was a little girl. And Yashu Wazalewski says the Doctor Who theme has a special place in my heart, but Psych always gets me happy, feels going every time. But Psych always gets my happy feels going every time it starts. There you go. I got there eventually.
Eventually, sometimes.
Listen, we're doing it live. Sometimes you're reading, you're like, wait, I'm reading this incorrectly.
Yeah, it's happened to me many times.
Yes. So that's all that I was going to say. That's all the news that's fit to print. But wait, no, that's not true because we've got news. We're starting this week off with news, and we're doing two things. I decided to start off with the fun thing. Let's start off with the fun thing. The fun thing is we got a Moon Knight trailer this week, the new show starring Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke, based on the cult Marvel character. And I'm going to be honest, Roxy, I thought it was going to, because I'm a crazy person, I thought it was going to take us longer to get to Moon Knight. I did, you know what I mean? Like, I thought, before the Disney Plus show announcement.
The trailer, or what do you mean?
I mean, before the Disney Plus announcement, I'm like, oh, we're a good like 5 to 8 years off from Moon Knight. And it's like, nope, Disney Plus show coming.
Yeah.
So, Roxy.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts. Moon Knight trailer dropped Monday night. Anticipation through the roof.
I love the energy of this trailer. I think it looks awesome. I'm super duper with you, DJ. I don't know if you still feel this way, but like you did last time, British accent is throwing me off.
Oh boy, howdy.
Yeah, like legit throwing me off, and doesn't feel necessary. However, this is a trailer, yes. And it is, and perhaps in the show it does work. So I'm holding out hope for that. But it's like I'm watching the trailer. And visually, this is working for me. Tonally, this is working for me. Everything I'm seeing, I'm like, I'm interested in this. And then I'm hearing that voice, and I'm like, So that's how I'm feeling tonight.
Yeah, I think that's that makes a lot of sense to me. I also do think that this feels like one of those trailers that like, oh, this is the first episode. You know what I mean? And so maybe once we get past this stuff, like, because obviously for those that aren't familiar with the character in the comics, a big part of his history throughout his run has been dissociative identity disorder, which he has multiple personalities. So clearly British accent, he's referred to by one name and then later gets a phone call where he's referred to by a different name. Clearly British accent is one of the personalities. In the trailer, he's having to chain himself to his bed because he's not getting sleep. I like all this stuff. I will say I'm also not necessarily I don't know how to phrase this. I'm not necessarily the right person to talk to about this because Moon Knight's one of my faves. And to the point where like I have in my brain that like, oh, these are the compelling parts of the character. If I were doing a show, this is the stuff I would focus on. And this trailer comes in and like, hey, we're not doing any of that. And so it's tough for me because it's like we're really playing up the supernatural aspect. It's like, oh God, why? Why are you doing that? That's not the most interesting part of Moon Knight. We're really leaning into the DID, and it's like, why? Because DID is tricky because in the real world, it's complicated. There's a chance that it might be a different mental disorder sounds like the wrong way to phrase it, but I think you all know what I mean when I say that. It might be a different thing that we're mislabeling, but fiction likes to treat it like your brain disease gives you superpower. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird, like it's the same thing where like every show likes to treat people with autism as if they have computer special brains. And it's like, well, that's not how things work. And so it's tricky and it's hard. And I feel like it's tricky. And I feel like the comics have kind of moved past that as like the crux of the character. And this show is not doing that. It's also tricky because again, Moon Knight is one of the few very explicitly Jewish characters. There's a lot of tricky elements of the character, and this trailer doesn't give me a lot of confidence that we're going to be handling those things with much nuance. So that makes me nervous. That said, the other last criticism, I don't know that I love the bandage costume. It looks cumbersome. It just looks heavy. It just like, how is this dude supposed to move in this thing?
I don't know. I thought it looked cool though.
Everybody else thinks it looks cool. I'm the only one that's like, wow, that looks like a lot. It just looks like it's hard to move in. And the clip with the bandages wrapping around him looks dumb to me. But that said, I love Oscar Isaac. I love Ethan Hawke. I think the energy, like you said, I think the energy of this trailer is cool. And also, like you said, it is a trailer. So who knows what the actual show will be like. It is interesting that this is going to be the first Disney Plus show that is a character that will be introduced in a Disney Plus show. He's completely new to the Marvel canon. Question for you, Roxy. Is there any reality at this point?
Disney Plus show where the first character is
so like
character?
Yeah, so like Wanda showed up in the movies.
About like Haley Bishop.
True. That's true. That is also
but it's called Hawkeye, so.
But in the comics, she is also a Hawkeye. But Clint is there. But this actually does. That's a good point because it leads me to my question to you: is there any reality where a legacy character does not show up in this show?
Do you mean somebody not specifically Kingpin, but you mean somebody legacy as in like
I mean like the way they felt the need to put Wong into Shang-Chi. You know what I mean? Like Marvel. I feel like it's weird because Marvel is as powerful as it's ever been, but it's like they don't have the confidence to just let a new character be a new character. It's like, no, here's one of the ones you already know. Giving this character permission to exist.
Maybe they'll introduce one of the upcoming Disney Plus characters and give us like a little tease of somebody.
Yeah.
Instead of going back. No?
Maybe. I'm asking you. I'm interested to know.
That was my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
No, I think somebody's going to show up. I think somebody. He's either going to
make sense.
Daredevil. If we're kind of leaning more into that.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense too.
Which, by the way, yeah. Daredevil. Shang-Chi would also kind of make sense, except I don't know he would have the weight they'd want. Probably since it seems like we're really pushing up the mystical angle with the bandages wrapping over him and he's punching some sort of hairy wolf-like boy in that trailer. Either Doctor Strange, maybe Wong again. Listen, Wong's stock is going way up, so maybe Wong will show up. Maybe Wanda, maybe Moon Knight will be looped into Multiverse of Madness. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to
all
say?
Possibilities. It's so weird having these conversations about this kind of show because you don't really have these conversations about any other things that are not Disney properties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's not like Superman and Lois were coming out and we were like, but do you think that Gal Gadot is gonna pop in? We don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, and it was like, no, I do not think. So I don't, it's just bizarre. Like sometimes it happens with Star Wars, sometimes it happens here, but it's such a weird conversation to have before you've even gotten before we even have one episode. The conversations are always like,
who's going to show
showing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's going to show up?
Who's coming to the party?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I would find it incredibly endearing if they just made a Moon Knight show. You know what I mean? It's like they don't feel the need to like Yelena's not going to show up in this. It's just Moon Knight. Mm-hmm. We're treating this Moon Knight show as if it's Iron Man 1 or Captain America 1 or whatever, where it's just them.
That is because you love Moon Knight.
I do. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But it's also because I kind of miss the Marvel, and it makes sense because it's worked for them. Marvel's really gotten into the mythology first, the universe first model, like everything. And that's kind of one of my concerns with this trailer is it feels like they said, oh, one of the things we're doing in this phase is mystical stuff. Let's make Moon Knight more mystical. And it's like, that is a choice. I don't know if it's the strongest for the character, but it's one of those, it's like, well, it's more about the universe than any one specific character. And that kind of, like, I kind of wish these characters were allowed to exist a little bit more. Like, I think Peacemaker, which we're going to talk about and what we're into, I think Peacemaker really benefits from the fact that it just gets to exist in its own little pocket. It can make jokes about the wider DC universe, but I am not coming to the show with any expectation of like, well, who's going to show up? No, I'm just watching a Peacemaker show. You know what I mean?
I agree. Like, we have light spoiler for Peacemaker this week, but we had like a full blown Batman reference, and it's like, I'm not expecting any of our Batmen to pop up.
Nope.
It wasn't like I was like, oh, that's a sign.
No, like, yeah, you're just watching a thing, and clearly they exist in a universe. It's the same way Doom Patrol does it. It exists in a universe where Batman exists. Mm-hmm. But he's not showing up. Like, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Oh my God, there's a character reference in this episode of Peacemaker that I cannot wait to talk about. But that's in what we're into.
I'm so excited to talk about Peacemaker.
Oh my God. But we'll talk about that in what we're into. So if you're listening to this episode for free, go check out the Patreon. Now, other news. All of this was on Monday. Monday was a busy day. An article about the internet's former favorite boyfriend and now not anymore is Joss Whedon is finally spoke out about all the stuff that came out from Justice League, which just side note, I feel like at this point I feel pretty confident saying that the Justice League movie was just a net negative, just across the board. Like, you know, we just on every level, the Justice League movie was a mistake.
I don't know about mistake, but I definitely think there was a lot of harm caused. Just on
literally every level. There's not like an aspect of the Justice League movie I could think of where it's like, well, that worked out. It's like, well, no, it did just anyway, that doesn't matter. So I thought that just a side note, I thought the article was excellent. For me, it was an extended exercise in giving somebody enough rope to hang themselves. Although I do think it was, what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't force that. That is my reading. I could imagine other people reading it, and I can imagine a person reading and thinking Joss Whedon came off.
So what do you mean by that, DJ? I want to hear a full breakdown from you.
Well, okay. So for me, the process of reading it, I don't know about you, Roxy. My instinct when this stuff comes out is like, well, I'm not reading that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck about this guy. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to. But enough people were talking about it, like, fuck it, fine, I'll read it. So first thing that stood out to me was how, like, you know, I can remember as a younger person, I don't know that I specifically had this thought for Joss Whedon, but I could imagine, because I didn't grow up watching Buffy and stuff. I don't have an emotional connection to any of that. But thinking like, oh man, he was a showrunner at 30, and like admiring that, and like, how do you do that? And then the article begins with like his childhood, and it's like, oh, this motherfucker was a privileged asshole. Fuck this guy. Like, it doesn't matter what. My experience is always, it doesn't matter who the creator is. You always find out that they had some sort of fucking rich ass parent, and that's how they got into the fucking industry. Whatever. That was my first thing I keyed in on. The other thing is. You know, he says some of the stuff you expect. I do think he like basically stepped on every single landmine you could with the Justice League thing. Like, oh, Gal Gadot's English isn't her first language, so she didn't understand me. It's like, well, that's not. Even if that's what you believe, that's not how you respond to this question. Like this. the thing that interested me most, that I didn't see really anybody else talking about, is the way the article talks about fan culture. Like, I feel like Joss Whedon is the villain of the piece, is my interpretation of it. Again, I could see somebody reading and having a different interpretation. My interpretation is Joss Whedon is the villain of the piece.
Despite trying to make himself the hero of the piece at every turn.
Yeah. But I think for me, the article did a good job of couching that in. Like, he tries to paint it. My impression is he tries to paint it as like, listen, I probably was bullied as a kid and nobody liked me or whatever, and that made me. That's not what happened. What happened is the whole entertainment industry was like, "Oh, you're a god," and that fucked up your brain, because it fucks up everybody's brain. We shouldn't treat people that way. Nobody's special. So for me, reading it is how fan culture factors into all of this, and how, like, if Joss Whedon is the Loki of this piece, how fan culture is kind of the Chitauri, like they're like enabling shit, and how now that army has moved on to Zack Snyder, who I guess in this analogy is the Thanos, and how our innate desire to, like, oh my god, like, put these people on pedestals is a flawed impulse, and so that aspect was interesting to me, and I will say, it does make me a little bit nervous, because I feel like, and I don't know if you had a different experience, Roxy, I feel like the Joss Whedon crowd wants this stuff really, because the article gives a good timeline of, like, his wife did her article, which put a crack in the wall. And then, of course, all the Ray Fisher goggled out Justice League stuff. And then we go back in time and we find out all the Buffy shit. And at that point, the ship is sunk. But I don't recall, like, a big Joss Whedon fan base backlash to this. They were all pretty much like, oh, fuck that guy. What do we do about that? We still love Buffy and Angel, so what do we do about that? But fuck this guy. The trend,
you mean, like, they didn't hang on to him. It wasn't like after everything was coming out, they weren't like, we still love Joss.
Yeah, there's no like we're still defending him. This stuff isn't true. They're like, okay, fuck that guy. And I think part of that is because a lot of Joss Whedon's fan base was built around this notion that his stuff was socially forward, was feminist, was all that stuff. And so the revelation was that even though his work did that, his personal character doesn't reflect that. So the response is, fuck that guy. The fan culture moving from the timeline we're presented with is kind of this fan culture moving from that to, like, the Zack Snyders of the world. And this is not, and I've said this before, this is not a statement on Zack Snyder's character. I've never met the guy. I've heard nothing but good things about the guy. However, his work is at best borderline fascist. And I think that kind of, that work is also reflected in his most vocal proponents and represents a part of the internet and fan culture.
Zack Snyder's work is fascist?
100%. 100%. When Zack Snyder comes out and he's like, I want to make an Atlas Shrugged movie based off the Ayn Rand book, it's like, of course you do, because 300 is a racist movie. It casts think he's fascist for making those things, or you think he's telling fascist stories? I think he tells fascist stories. Again, I do not know his character, and I've heard nothing negative about him as a person. I think
that's an interesting perspective. I definitely don't agree with, but that's interesting.
Because you look at 300. 300 is a racist movie. It casts the Greeks as white British men, which, for those playing at home, I'm a quarter Greek, and everybody thinks I literally got an email this week, was like, hey, do you want to be a part of an article for mixed race people? I'm like, by the way, I'm not. Greek people are not, especially back then, are not white people. And in fact, the Babylonians, which are portrayed as Middle Eastern, are more traditionally white. And so 300 was also when Frank Miller had brainworms, and it's a fascist piece of propaganda that Frank Miller created post 9/11 that then Zack Snyder lovingly translated to the screen. I think Zack Snyder, one of the reasons I hate his Watchmen movie is the core premise of Watchmen is that superheroes are inherently fascist. And Zack Snyder came to that movie and was like, yeah, and that's fucking dope. And he leaned into all that stuff. And so I think that represents in his most vocal, again, I'm not saying like, oh, you watch the Snyder Cut, you're part of this. But like basically the group of people that bullied everybody on the internet until they got the movie they wanted. I think that group of people use stuff like the Ray Fisher story as a pretense to justify their own feelings for this movie. And so I feel like if this same type of news came out about Zack Snyder, the most vocal, ardent Snyder supporters would not back down and represent a very toxic part of the fandom. So that I find that concerning. I find that if this were to happen again,
that's just that's your speculation. You're saying that if this was not Joss and that this was Zach, you think that there would have been a different fan reaction with the exact same information.
100%. And again, just some clarifications. Don't know Zack Snyder. I've never heard anything negative about him. And I'm not talking about casual, you watch a Zack Snyder movie, you like it. I'm talking about the most vocal people that shouted everybody down and bullied everybody and all that stuff. Though that core fan base, I think, would react very differently to the same news about that person. And it's less about Zack Snyder and his movies and more about a general concern about the way fan culture has moved, the direction it has moved in. I think there's a sense, and you see it in the Joss Whedon piece, where in his brain, he's like, I was bullied, so how can I be a bully? And it's like, well, that's not how things work. In fact, I think almost a prerequisite to being a bully is having been bullied. You've never talked to a single bully that was also not bullied by somebody else, like a parent or a sibling or somebody. You know what I mean? That comes from somewhere. And I think that toxicity has become ingrained in fan culture where you're like, well, I was picked on all this year, so it doesn't matter what I say to anybody else on the internet. I'm the good guy. And it's like, well, look at the Joss Whedon story as a cautionary tale of those feelings. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I think you and I are on a lot of different pages here, though.
Okay.
Because to go back, I think you can be fascinated by subject matters without praising them. I don't think he does. I also think we're coming up in a time where you know more about your creators than you used to. And I think one of the reasons why people have rallied around Zack Snyder so hard is because he has such a strong reputation on set, because everybody has stood up for him, because he's given so much money to suicide prevention, because they deem him to be a good guy. Yeah. And that's not what had happened with Joss.
Well, no, but I will say that was Joss's reputation before this. Let me finish.
But I don't agree. I think that Joss had the reputation of being an awesome creator who created some of the best pieces and that people loved, and then was interpreted by people to be a feminist because he was writing about women. But we didn't see Joss. We did not see his entire cast rally around him and say, this man is the best person. We need to release his cut. He is the one who did this. We did not see the actors rally around Joss the same way. Yeah. We actually saw many actors refuse to work with Joss again and just decided to let that fall by the wayside. So while I'm with you that Joss is definitely a cautionary tale and we should not put people on a pedestal the way that we do in society, I don't think it's the same situation as Zach. And I think you are correct that people would stay rallied behind him because I think that they know him more than they ever knew Joss, coming up at a completely different time. And it would be more of a shock because of all the good Zach has done. And every interaction you hear about him, I know this has nothing to do with specifically Zach. That's one example you're using. We could have used 15 other names here. Yep. But we tend to know more about our creators now. And when it has been people that people are obsessed with, people die for, I think a lot of people have shunned them in today's age. And I think that Joss is one of them, but so is Bill Cosby, you know? So, and I think people talk about somebody who was as loved and as trusted as anybody has ever been. Yeah. I think even his diehard supporters, most of them, other than Snoop Dogg, have said, looked at the facts. So I think that I don't think we could assume that people wouldn't be like this, but going to the actual article, if we want to move forward to what happened, I'm with you on the bullying aspect. And it just felt really gross to me that he was so concerned about defending himself. He was so much like, in order for you guys to understand why I did these things, you have to know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have spent your time, first of all, admitting to anything, because he denies like everything.
Yeah.
But saying that I did that, I could have been better here. The one thing he admits to is like being kind of a dick to Charisma Carpenter, but still doesn't admit to the things she said that he did.
Yeah.
Doesn't admit to the grabbing of the arm, doesn't admit to threatening Gal, doesn't admit to any racism on set, doesn't admit to any sexism, but, you know, like straight up is like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but y'all need to know that my dad and my brother, there was some bullying going on, and my mom, I said she was great, but that's really hard too.
Yeah.
And it was like, how about you spend your time explain, like, not justifying what you did, but admitting what you did and apologizing for what you did.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm at. Yeah, this leads me to a question I have for you, and it's something I've been thinking a lot about, and I don't have a strong answer on, but it was something I've been thinking about more since, you know, a couple of weeks ago, James Franco did his apology tour, and it makes me wonder: is there a road back for any of these people? Should there be? Is there one? And what does that look like? Because on the one hand, I agree with you. You know, you should spend your time apologizing about that stuff and trying to rectify that. However, that has not proven successful for other people either. You know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying it necessarily should. I don't know, because as you've pointed out in past ones, like this is a privilege to have this kind of, to direct an Avengers movie is a privileged position that other people would kill for. So and there's plenty of them. So why should we let you back in? You did your bit. Bye now. Yeah. So like, do you have thoughts on that, on what it would look like for like a James Franco or a Joss Whedon? And again, like, and I was like a Louis C.K. It's like, and it's all different things. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah. So that's really what it is for me. It's on a case by case basis, not based on how much we like them as a creator, but based on what they've done and how they've grown. There are certain things for me where there are lines in the sand drawn where you don't get to come back.
No.
Same for you, I'm sure, DJ. Same for anybody listening in terms of like a Harvey Weinstein, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you are a predator and were a predator for decades and are assaulting women left and right, like hundreds of women, then obviously that's not the same as if you are Joss Whedon, who is a dick on set and more, or James Franco, who had slept with his students and been inappropriate but had not assaulted anybody. Had not assaulted anybody in terms of like, I guess that's up for debate. By people.
It's tricky. I was actually kind of thinking like, I was like, and it's always tricky when you're trying to give a hierarchy to these things.
Right, totally.
But it's like, my impulse was to say like, actually, now that I think about it, James Franco might have been worse. And I was like, well, what does worse even mean? Like, how do you gauge that?
It's tough. And like, so I try to put myself in the position of I'm going to say the woman, because 9 out of 10 times, I think it's more than that, but we'll call it 9 out of 10 times it is the woman being assaulted or. Well,
and because the traditional power structure is 9 out of 10 times it's the guy in power. Right. It's not that women can't do this. Like I would argue
the whole Kevin Spacey story, and there's a lot of other stories.
Exactly. And that's why I would argue that the power structure is a big part of it. just putting other people in that power structure, like you said with the Kevin Spacey, doesn't necessarily fix anything. But anyway, yeah.
But just to be like as blunt as I can be, and like, I don't know whether people get mad at me for saying this, but when I think about it, when I think about somebody jerking off in front of me, I feel one way, which is like, ugh. Yeah. But I don't feel like if that happened to me, and who knows, because I could feel differently if that happened to me, I would feel like I never wanted to work with that person again. And that's just a fucking like, that sucked. But I don't think I would feel like the same way that I would feel as if on set every day for years of my life, somebody was verbally abusive and like grabbing people's arms and that I thought was racist, sexist, like all of those things. I don't think that those would feel the same to me about coming back in the public eye. So like, it is weird because that's my personal hierarchy of fucked up things. That is not how a lot of people would feel. And I also understand everybody has different experiences in their life. So I think there's a road back for some people. And I think the start to that road, I actually really, really appreciated James Franco's interview, his SiriusXM interview. Yeah. Because, and didn't appreciate it like, love him, can't wait for him to come back. But appreciated it like, if I had been one of the students he had slept with, it would have been nice for just even the first time to hear him admit that happened. Yeah. You know, like, I did do that. I slept with my students. At the time, I thought that they were consenting adults. I'm a consenting adult. That was not wrong. Yeah. In the last 4 years that I have been silent and working on myself and in therapy, I see how that was wrong, and I would not do that today. Yeah. Now, do I think that part of what he's saying is like to get back in the public eye? Probably. That's the other trick. So probably, but at least he is admitting to what he did, which is more than we can say for 90% of the people who have been accused of things. Yeah. Who just like literally won't even say. And the same thing with Louis. Yeah. Louis said, I did those. And if you've seen any of his specials since, which I know is unpopular to do, but they're called like he has a big thing behind him that says sorry. And like, he does make jokes of it, which is like, you guys can decide if that's okay or not. Yeah. But he does say, I beat off in front of women. Like, he's not saying he didn't do it. Yeah. Joss Whedon is saying, I did not do those things. I did not threaten Gal Gadot. Yeah. She is saying I did because she doesn't speak English well. I did not cut Ray out or treat Ray with racism. He's not a good actor. Yeah. Like, he is just deflect. Yeah, so that one was bold. That was because again, even if you feel that that's not. Do you have a PR person? What? And the first thing he says in the whole thing, DJ, is that he's nervous to say anything. He's like, I'm just nervous to say anything, and then he sure says a hell of a lot. But like, so I think that if there's a road back for people, it starts with saying, here is what I did. Yeah. Which most of them can't seem to do. Oh, and again, I think it comes back to this thing of when you are being fed this line that you are God's special creator boy and you can do no wrong, it fucks up your brain. I honestly think it fucks up your brain. And I think it is in our best interest as fans to remember, no matter how much you like a creator's work, they are a person. Not only are they a person, they grew up in a specific time, probably, because I think of most of the creators I like are probably 50 or older. They grew up in a specific time. And just like James Franco said, in the past 4 years, he learned stuff that was always true, but was not necessarily part of the environment he was in. Yeah. Same with these people. And it is in our best interest to keep that in mind, and that they are people, and that we probably shouldn't treat them as gods, because if anybody with that amount of money or power is probably an asshole. It's just going back to the 9 out of 10 times they're probably a fucking asshole. Because there's no reason not to be. Everybody's saying yes to them. So maybe if we do that, we treat people as people, you wouldn't get an environment where somebody feels empowered to treat somebody as less than them. Because I think obviously the gradations are different, but it all comes down to that core of somebody looking at somebody else and saying like, well, I can do what I want to this person. And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Don't do that. And I think what we're trying to do in Hollywood is create a culture literally any workspace where it's not like, well, fuck this guy, I can do whatever I want to them. Do you think there's a road back, DJ, for any of these people?
Should there be one? I think my impulse is to say there should be one, if for no other reason as you want to create an environment where we can fix these things and there's not an impulse to hide it. You know what I mean? Because if you're hiding it, you're not resolving the issue. You're not fixing the thing. And that hurts everybody. And so it's tricky because on the one hand, you also don't want something where it's like, well, say 3 Hail Marys, the professional equivalent of saying 3 Hail Marys and you're fixed. It needs to be an actual tangible thing. And I also think as Americans, our brain is has a few extra hurdles to jump over because we're a very punitive culture. We very much want to punish people. We want revenge. We want that, just in general, culturally. And I don't know that that's a beneficial instinct. I feel less bad about it when it's somebody rich and powerful and wealthy, but just in general, I don't know that it's a positive way to view stuff. But like, in some ways, I almost think it would have benefited Louis' career better if he had never he's just like, no, they're lying, fuck that. And then he would have been able to keep doing what he was doing before. And that's kind of fucked up. Like if people point of example, I remember when the Aziz Ansari stuff hit and I looked at that and I was like, well, I don't know that this is the same thing as the other stuff. Have I watched his latest special? I have not. Did I see the most recent season of Master of None? No, I haven't. And so he's basically, in some ways, like he's in entertainment jail, even though the conversation around that was more ambiguous than other people. You know what I mean? So it's
not an entertainment jail because he got to make Master of None.
That's true. Like, that's true. But
the show got taken from him. Like everybody got not taken from him. He lost his show.
Yeah, and so it's like, but I think we should. My instinct is to say we should create an environment where people can admit to these things and improve, so that people will admit to these things and we can improve.
Right.
What that looks like and how, because this also, the weird thing is now we're kind of put in the position of the gatekeeper. Even though some of these, it's illegal. It's the law. And so, but unless you're a Cosby or Harvey Weinstein, where you have like a legitimate like body count behind you, up in like triple digits, we're not gonna societally, we're not gonna do anything about it. It's up to us as fans to be like, well, I'm just not gonna support your stuff anymore. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I know. It is true that we are the gatekeepers kind of, and that's a little bit what I'm talking about, where like I'm sitting there like, how would I feel if a guy was jerking off in front of me versus if somebody grabbed my arm on set versus if somebody I thought was threatening me? And it's like, I actually don't want to make any of those choices about any of that.
Shouldn't be on you. shouldn't be. Yeah. And when again, hopefully, we're creating, like I know with HBO, we're creating intimacy coordinators and stuff like that. You want to create a place where you can talk to people. I know if anybody's ever seen the movie The Assistant, it's a really great movie. I highly recommend it. There's a sequence, and it's basically a fictionalized account of an assistant for a producer that is Harvey Weinstein-esque. And she goes to HR to report it, but of course HR answers to this guy. It's just such a fucked up scene. So we need to culturally, structurally create an environment where there are people you can report to. It's the same thing with like cops and stuff like that. Who polices cops? Cops do. Well, what the fuck? Like, how are we actually supposed to improve anything? Because nobody's going to rat on their fucking friend, whatever. I don't know. Probably shouldn't be on us. Also, kind of like climate change. Like, well, it's up to you to not buy plastic. It's like, well, I mean, I don't know that me buying plastic is the same as like fucking ExxonMobil doing their thing. Maybe we should force them to do a couple things, huh?
Yeah. I do wonder what the women think. Not women in general, but like specifically Franco's students.
Yeah.
What do they think should happen?
Yeah.
And specifically the like 4 women with Louis that came out or whatever it was. What do they think should happen? And it shouldn't be on them either, because that puts way too much pressure on them when they've already been screwed. But I am curious their thoughts, because like I guess that's who should be able to voice their opinion the loudest.
100%. And also, again, I think it comes back to like we are culturally, it probably benefit us to rethink how we do how justice works. You know what I mean? Like whether it's, again, kind of like to get out of the punishment, what is it? Restorative justice, I think is the term. Anyway, we're not going to solve that here. I do recommend reading the article. We're not, unfortunately. That'd be great if we could decide it here and then implement
20-minute combo. We didn't figure it all out.
Figure it out. Oh shit.
Shit.
I swear to God, we're going to talk about more fun things. We're going to go on an ad break and we're going to come back to the things we're excited for in 2022. That's us putting to bed 2021. I think, I hope, I don't fucking know. And we'll be back with what we're into for 2022. Hello, everybody. We're back. We were still talking about it over the ad break. It takes over everything. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about what we're into for 2022. I asked in the Discord chat, normally we ask you guys a question. I asked you a question. What are you guys into? Joey says they just dropped the trailer for Our Flag Means Death, and I'm stoked. That's a new Rhys Darby and Taika Waititi pirate show, and it does look hilarious. Solomon says Daniels are my favorite directors right now, and they definitely and so he's definitely into Everything Everywhere All at Once, which looks incredible. Jake Hefner says Mission Impossible 7, Jordan Peele's Nope, Pixar's Seeing Red and Lightyear. For TV, he's looking forward to the Orville and video game Horizon Forbidden West. We got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse from Boiler Huff. Danny says The Batman, that's all I care about. See y'all in March. And we got Kayla Marine, who's also in the chat today, is looking forward to Ted Lasso Season 3, Stranger Things, and Spider-Verse as well. And Maggie Whitmer mentions The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal, which also looks fucking amazing. A lot of great stuff. Oh my God, so many great responses. If you're part of the Patreon, you can go to the Discord and you can send your responses and read everybody else's. Ryan McCoy says he's looking forward to Elvis, the Bob's Burgers movie, Halo show. So let's just get into it, Roxy. I was going to divide this up to movies and TV shows, but you know what? We talked a lot about Joss Whedon.
Okay.
So no holds barred. Right off the bat, a couple things that stand out to me that the other people hadn't mentioned is I'm looking forward to Northman, the new Robert Eggers movie, the guy that did The Witch and Lighthouse. Looks incredible. Very excited for that. I'm really excited for Black Adam. I feel like I tend to always get way hyped up for Dwayne Johnson movie, and then I see it and it's like, oh, that was okay. But I'm excited for that. As far as TV shows, Atlanta's coming back. Super stoked for that. And The Last of Us, I'm very interested to see where that goes. And then for video games, for me, I know you're a gamer, but we're probably going to focus on TV for you.
Halo, big gamer. Go.
That's where I was going to go. God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West. I'm also excited for Starfield, although that's only for Xbox, so I probably won't get a chance to play it. Roxy, 2022, what are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to so many TV shows that I don't even have time to talk about movies. Y'all know the ones I'm looking forward to. Batman and Black Adam and all that.
Oh, Batman's going to be 3 goddamn hours.
Yeah, 2 hours, 55 minutes or 47 minutes without the credits. Oh, boy.
Oh, sweet Lord in heaven. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So TV shows that I'm looking forward to. Hugely looking forward to binging Ozark that dropped last night.
Yes.
So that's really exciting. I will try to go in order for a lot of these. Pam and Tommy. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that. That's Hulu, February 2nd.
Yeah, my interest keeps going up because before I was like, whatever. And then the more I see about it, it's like, oh, actually, this might be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's on my radar for sure. I don't know if I'm going to like the story they tell, because if they don't tell a real story, then it's going to look very glamorized.
Yes.
So we'll see, but I'm interested for it. Something that I think that should be on your radar, DJ, is Inventing Anna. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
This is Shonda when she signed her deal with Netflix. This is Shonda's first show she's bringing there, but it's starring Julia Gardner, who you and I both love.
Very good.
So she that's February 11th going to be on Netflix. And then a lot of shows that are coming back that I'm really looking forward to. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is dropping on Amazon on February 18th. We haven't had a season of that show in a minute.
Yeah, what season are they on?
4.
I want to say that's one of those shows that I heard a lot of hype for, and then it kind of completely vanished from my radar.
Well, I feel like I haven't had a new season of that in 2 years. So
that might be true.
Yeah,
considering the past 2 years, that might be true.
Almost like we've been in a pandemic. Atlanta, FX, March 24th. Obviously, you and I feel the same exact way about that.
Oh boy, so excited.
so you know I'm excited for that. Bridgerton is dropping on Netflix March 24th also, and I for sure will be watching Atlanta prior to watching Bridgerton, but still stoked on Bridgerton. And Atlanta probably will only have one episode, and Bridgerton will have a whole season. So that's a big day for your girl Rock.
It's also wild to think about when you mentioned Marvelous Miss Maisel like being gone for 2 years, and then like Bridgerton has its second season out now, and it's like, how were you able to do that? How was every show not on hiatus for 2 years?
I think I'm a little bummed because we all know that Reggie John Page, Reggae John Page, I always fuck up his name. He is not going to be in this season. So
is that a story thing? I don't know. As somebody who doesn't watch the show, I don't know how I feel about it. I know everybody loved him, and then he's not in it. It's like, wait, why is that the case?
It makes sense story-wise, but it doesn't make sense in my heart.
Gotcha.
Moon Knight, March 30th, Disney Plus. The Boys is coming back on Amazon June 3rd.
Yep.
I love that show.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite superhero shows, and I feel like people forget about that when it's gone too.
I love The Boys too. I will say the end of episode reveal at the end of last season was a little like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, totally curious what we are doing. So interested to see that. The Lord of the Rings show, which is the most expensive show ever, is going to be coming out September 2nd, which feels a long way away, but it's still this year. It's going to be on Amazon.
Ring of Power, right? Is they just announced the trailer. And by the way, it turns out that with the molten logo and everything, that was done practically. Because again, it's the most expensive show in the world. So they could just like do it practically.
That is nuts.
I am nervous about that show because Lord of the Rings is something I love, but it also feels like tailor-made to tell one specific story. And so when you get outside of that, it's like, I don't know that I care. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not like I'm not going to watch it.
Totally. The Crown, which had been a snooze fest for me for a minute. This most recent season was so fucking good. Yeah. But I'm stoked for that. It's coming in November. And then a few shows that we don't know exactly when they're coming, but we know they're hitting in 2022. A League of Their Own. I've been so excited for this one. Wait, Abby Jacobson is adapting it.
They're making a League of Their Own show?
Yes, they are. Wait, you missed this announcement, DJ? This is a big one. I'm really excited about this. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. Remember there was that show, I think it was called Pitch, that came on, and everybody said it was great, but it didn't do very well. Well, now they're doing a League of Their Own show. It's starring Darcy Carden, who, if you are a Good Place person, she's awesome. Yep. It's the girl, Abby Jacobson, who I just said, who if you are a fan of Broad City, then you love her also. And it seems like it could be really, really good, interesting. We'll see. It's supposed to be coming this year, so we'll see how that is. That's going to be on Amazon. There's the HBO show. I mean, the Game of Thrones show, House of the Dragon.
Thoughts on that? I put it here. Some of the stuff I put on the list on the doc was just like, hey, it's a thing. I don't know that I'm excited about it, but it's a thing.
I haven't even looked at the thing that you're saying.
It's just my list in the doc. I just made a list for myself.
Totally. I feel like I don't think it's going to be that good, to be honest.
Sorry, somebody rang the doorbell. My dog's barking.
I think Winona agrees with me.
Yeah. What did you say?
I think it's going to be mediocre.
Yeah, I am one of the few people that did not mind the Game of Thrones finale. I was fine with it. However, I just don't know that I care about this. I'm fine with Game of Thrones spinoff. I just don't know, like, more of the. Do you want to know more about Daenerys' ancestors? And the answer is not really. I don't care.
Yeah, totally. I get you. Knocking a few of our nerd things out of the way. Andor, Obi-Wan, She-Hulk. I'm excited for all of more than that, but those are the ones I'm most excited for. And the Sandman, which is going to be Netflix this year, which I'm stoked on. Stranger Things coming to Netflix. We don't know when, but maybe summer, maybe October. And
those kids are like college age now, right?
Yeah. Seriously, they're actually adults with kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kids. And Barry on HBO. I love that show.
Coming back this year.
Yep.
Because that's another one that's been like 2 years since we got a season.
I know, but we're going to get one. So, yeah, those are some of the ones on my list of new and old, but things to look out for. Yeah,
I love Barry. I still watch Ronnie Lily. Like, sometimes before I write, I'll watch that Ronnie Lily episode just because I love it so much.
I thought you had said Rami for a second. And
I don't know when that's coming back, but I do love Rami.
I feel like we have to assume we're going to get a season this year, but I don't know that we can assume that.
Yeah, with anything. I don't know that we could assume that with anything. Yeah, so you mentioned House of the Dragon. I'm on the fence about that. Other shows that I don't know how I feel about. Halo is coming to Paramount. I'm interested just to see how it works. You know what I mean? Like what it's like.
How do you work?
But I don't. It's tough with video games because part of the appeal of video games is it puts the player. You are the protagonist, and so there's it's tricky. It's tricky adapting video games and specifically. Master Chief is not the most richly drawn character because again, it's just supposed to be you. You are supposed to be Master Chief. So I don't know how you make or even if you do, I don't know if he's going to be the central figure of the show. I would imagine he has to be because it would be like making a Mario show without Mario. Like I know he's in it. I just don't know if he's going to be like the main character we're following and we're going to give him an arc and he's going to grow. If we're ever going to see his fucking face, I guess Mandalorian proved that you don't really need to do that.
Well, it didn't prove it for you.
It did not prove it for me. I think it would have benefited. Again, show his face, give him a supporting cast. Two things Boba Fett is doing for me. Although there are other things that we'll talk about with this episode that aren't necessarily working as well. Obviously, Only Murders in the Building. Doom Patrol Season 4. I don't know if we're getting that this year, but I'm fucking love that show and I'm stoked for it.
Oh, Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
Season 2 is going to be this year. Yeah, they had good cast announcements. Did you see these?
I did not.
Gimme. Let me look this up. It was interesting. One of them was Amy Schumer, which I feel like you're not you don't love.
I feel like there's been a backlash to Amy Schumer that I don't quite understand, but yeah. I don't have a strong feeling about Amy Schumer one way or the other.
Oh, okay. But the other one that was great, who was it? There was somebody that I was like, oh my God, they're going to be in the show. What is happening? Let me look.
While she's looking that up, I also want to mention in the Discord, y'all mentioned Mission Impossible. Super excited for that. I love the Mission Impossible movies. They're so good.
Shirley MacLaine. That's who it is.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that we're bringing Shirley MacLaine into the show.
What a good, great show. Highly recommend. As far going back to movies, it's weird. Whenever I try to think about movies coming out, it always ends up being the big blockbuster stuff because they're usually ones that like stick out a date and like months ahead of time. For a lot of the indie stuff, I don't know about it till like a month out or whatever. So the only indie thing I've got is Northman and everything everywhere all at once too. That one does look amazing to me. But Black Panther 2, theoretically, fingers crossed, we should be getting this year. Maybe, knock on wood. And that's a weird one. It's like, is it excitement that I feel? Like it would, so many things have happened since Black Panther 1. Like, I feel like this should be a slam dunk for me. And it's one of those like, oh, we'll see what happens. Aquaman 2. I love Aquaman.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it was a blast. So I'm excited for Aquaman 2 as well.
Amber Heard, is there a way back for her? Is this, okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I still completely my impression of all that is that like Johnny Depp was up to some shit, and again, this is what I'm talking about. All the Johnny Depp fans came out like, wait, no, that's not true. And it's like, also, it's worth mentioning that a lot of times abusers get defensive wounds from the people that they're abusing. So anyway, whatever. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
Because I also would mention, I don't know either of those people. And that, again, that just goes to my larger point. With any of these celebrities that you want to defend, just remember, you don't know them. Also, you don't owe them anything. Mm-hmm. Back to the Discord. A new guy says they are looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2. Harley Quinn season 3, hopefully. That would be amazing.
What, did they say hopefully, or is that coming? We don't know.
They said hopefully. I know with animated shows, the time frame of getting them done is hard for me to keep track of, but that would be amazing. I love that show. As far as comics go, Saga is finally continuing, which is, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That's incredible. Saga's an incredible comic. A lot of good stuff.
It's cool that we have such great content coming this year, and a lot of it I feel like is legit going to happen, just even if we're still on a panini.
I mean, so before we wrap up, listen, let's ask that question. We know Morbius got delayed.
April Fools.
Yeah. what anyway, whatever. There are some, last I checked, there were some good signs coming out of places like New York about numbers going down. Do we?
Because everybody was a zombie there for so long that nobody else can get it because every person got it. That was a good sign.
Yeah, that was such a good sign. Great. This all I will say, it does look like, those that were like, well, everybody just needs to get it and then we'll move on. It looks like, whether that's the best solution or not, that's the direction we're headed in.
There was another solution.
There was one.
We decided as a society to not take that solution.
Yes, but again, they didn't ask us. That would have been nice. So, do we think? What are the chances these things hit their dates? You think?
TV shows, I think, pretty likely.
Yeah, they've been doing weirdly. TV's actually been like better about it than movies have been.
Because they've padded in time and they don't need the same kind of PR beforehand. You don't need to like really make that do the same kind of prep that you do for a movie. So I think because of that, and also because their sets are smaller and less, and there are fewer people on them. Now, I'm not talking about the Game of Thrones of the world or the Lord of the Rings of the world, but in general. And a lot of them are not overseas, which is a big problem too for some of these huge productions.
Yeah.
So I think our TV shows, a lot of them are going to be good. For the movies, I actually don't see any of these dates changing. A lot of them are very far. None of our big anticipated movies are in the next month.
Yeah.
And this next month seems to be the hot spot.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw, we did get the invite for Death on the Nile.
I saw that. I don't think I will be attending that one.
that is one to me that does seem like, is this gonna go?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
but seemingly is.
We got the invite. I mean, if I were Disney,
I also got the invite for Mulan in 2020.
That's a good point. But that was right before shit went down. If I were Disney, I would burn Death of the Nile as quickly as possible. Like, let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah, definitely. Because also we have to keep in mind, it's so much more expensive for them once they mark the date and do a press for it to then pull it and then redo it. Their marketing budget goes up. So I think they're going to keep that one and cut their losses. Yeah, I don't see any of these dates moving, DJ. Some of them aren't announced yet on purpose. Some of our big ones. Yeah. They're just like in 2022 because I think they know, like, we don't know what that means. Yeah. I don't see much change happening here, though. What do you think?
I'm inclined to agree with you. Like you said, or if they do push it, it'll be, because we got Doctor Strange got pushed like a month ago or whatever. Yeah, since you're right, since we're coming out of the hot zone, hopefully, again, knock on wood, fingers crossed. TV, I think we're pretty safe on. Movies, we'll wait and see. I hope not, just because going back into it is just super fucking discouraging. We'll just have to wait and see. I know Wang Whitmer in the chat says, I'm so bummed Turning Red got pushed to Disney Plus. Pixar films are meant to be seen on the big, beautiful screen. It is weird that all the Pixar movies have just gone to Disney Plus, and it's like, wait, but does Pixar not make you money? What's happening?
I think maybe it makes them money wherever they are. Who knows?
Yeah. So
they still do those premium charges there, right?
Maybe. I mean, whatever works. I love those movies, and especially that one. I believe that's from the same director that did the short Bow that was in front of Incredibles 2, and that short was amazing. And so I'm very excited for Turning Red. So there we go. That's what we're excited for 2022. Let us know, tweet us or whatever. Roxy, where can the kids find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer, and multiple times a week doing The World Girls. We are doing our first podcast on Monday for our patrons. So on Monday we are finally dropping our first podcast, which we are so excited about. But we're gonna do it live for our patrons, and then that will be available to the public. But if you want to see it live, do it live. Patreon.com/TheWorldGirls.
Do it live. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. You can find the show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers. But on Twitter,
Yank out the vowels from stupid.
And again, if you want to find out what we are into this week, including Peacemaker and Boba Fett, let's talk about that. You can go over to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.